Hi guys, welcome back. Astonation here. So on the episode today, we want to look at a car that has been a favorite, a lovebird for a lot of politicians in Africa, a lot of sort of the people would call the elites or people who have made substantial amount of money in their business, and then they want something that will state their class or something that would probably give them some status in the community or in the society. So many of them like to go for this Japanese SUV for reasons that we do not really know why, because it's quite a good car off-road but not really a good car on-road. So today on the episode we're going to look at Toyota Landcruiser Prado TX. So specifically we're going to look at the Toyota Landcruiser Prado TX, the J150 series. So here is the car. So looking at it, nothing really that stands out in terms of wheels and that, but just something to mention is Toyota have done very well in terms of their hub specifications, that you can have aftermarket wheels that will fit on your Land Cruiser, as opposed to Land Rover products that will have only Land Rover wheels that can be fitted on them. 16-inch alloys but very tall tires that make this thing a little bit absorb road imperfections better. So this is the 2012 model but has had a 2019 facelift. So we have this nice looking bi-xenon headlights, but still with some LED bits in them, but halogen indicator lights and parking lights. So we also have this bumper that has very nice LED fog lights and the chrome bits that just make it stand out a little bit better. We have this grille here, big, ping to the newly begun Toyota design language that has seen them start going the BMW way of elongating and enlarging their grills for reasons we do not understand. For this Toyota badge here, the modern ones now will have a camera, infrared camera here for cruise control and such things hidden there. Same thing on the lights here. We come on the sides here, same thing as the other side, nothing really to shout out about, other than we can talk about this running board here that you can have guys stepping on it. Those who know, our politicians like to use this car, so the bodyguards and the police officers who are manning them or their stations would like to hang here on these cars on these rails. But typically this is used to help you climb into the car, having that this is an SUV. So you step on them and then climb in the car. We don't have side skirts here that will help you protect this space here if at all you went off-road. So you will still have mud on this area that can get onto your trousers as you alight. So if we come round again, also we can look at the massive space here. The door also opens wide enough. We have some nicely done leather seats, but not really any special. They're just normal seats with leather on them. So up here we can see we have a roof rack that can be undone by use of a key on these two positions here. So you can just mount some of your luggage on top here, some of your heavy stuff that you've been awarded or you've been given or you bought somewhere on the road. So we come around to the back here. This is also smoke finish, smoked taillights, which were not standard but aftermarket. They are also LED, but the indicators are still halogen. Then we come at the back here. In the boot, something a bit different with Toyota is that for the other competitors in the class, you find the Range Rover Sport, the Land Rover Discovery, you find the Cherokee and such, you will find that the tailgate lifts up as it opens. But for the Toyota Prado, the tailgate comes sideways. Some disadvantages to that is when you have parked close to other cars, you will have tighter space, then you will not be able to open the tailgate and load in your luggage. But the advantage is it opens wide enough, so you can be able to load in your stuff. So if we get in here, you notice we have not very big boot space, but quite sizable for your daily luggage and all that. You have these hooks here to tie down your shopping and stuff that you've put in the boot. This car also came with 7 seats, not as standard, but this has the 7-seat option, like so. That's how you bring up your third row seats, and then you just have to bring the headrest up, and then the seating area also needs to be brought into position, like so. If I can just fiddle it around, yeah, like so. And then you have your third row of seats in here ready. Yeah, so you can have 7 people sitting in this car, and then these are just their seat belts, this one for this side and this one for that side. This is where you handle to lock the boot or the tailgate. We have some storage here that is used to keep your wheel spanner, your jack, and such stuff, and then a little one here that houses your lifesaver, as well as the hazard triangles that you use when you have car problems on the highway. Yeah, like so. Jack handle and wheel spanner. Not forgetting to mention that we have this nicely done damper or shock, if you may call it, that helps you to hold the tailgate so that it doesn't come swinging to you or opening too wide to the other side. So that holds it, just to give it some resistance for you to be able to have it at whatever position you want. You can open it that little, you can open it that wide, and you can also open it all the way. At the back of the Prado, first of all, it's an SUV, so you climb on, in, then on. Yeah, so here you have some space here you can use as a cup holder just over there, and then we have this not really special but plastic bits here that hold the door switches, and then your door release and locking as well. In here you have some decent knee room, you have some decent space, decent headroom as well, with this cloth fabric interior, the headliner and the pillars, but the seats are leather, so you sit quite high and then a bit lower, so that you have this sort of depression, and then you can also just stretch your feet underneath the front seat so that you can have your comfort. You don't get tired of long distances. So at the middle here, having that it's an SUV, so 3 people can sit here abreast very comfortably. The third person sitting in the middle here will struggle a little bit because this back here is a bit too hard, which is just typically supposed to be used as an armrest for people sitting 2 at the back. But a third person can sit here. Having that it's an SUV, we don't have a huge hump here for transmission tunnel, but just slightly lowered. The person sitting here can be comfortable, but it's quite comfortable for 2 people. This part here, as I said, is normally used as a cup holder and an armrest at the back here. So you have these 2 cup holders. So you have your interior lights here, still halogen bulbs, yellow, and then you have your grab handles here. You also have a little coat hanger here, and then another grab handle on this B pillar. So not a lot of room as compared to the Land Rover Discovery or the Jeep Grand Cherokee or the Mitsubishi Shogun Pajero, but still quite enough room here at the back. Getting in here, so we can see typical Toyota, very minimalistic here, and nothing shouty, nothing to really brag about. But the thing with this car is, let me just put the ignition on, like so. The clock has just few bits and pieces. We have the rev counter, we have your temperature gauge, you have your speedo, and then some little LCD screen here for a few configurations and mileage information. Then we also have this central screen here that is absolutely rubbish because it speaks only Japanese. There's nothing you can do about it. Having it to be configured to tell you things in English is just as good as you getting an aftermarket head unit that has English as the standard language. So the dashboard here is not really leather, looks more of the resin material. You can hear the sound produced here, not really nicely finished. As well as here we have a lot of plasticky materials in here. This one here a bit hard and not as soft as the competitors have. We also have this little storage here that you can put away things, your wallet, your keys and all that. You can hide it there. You have your climate control here, which is also dual zone, passenger driver side. You still have your mechanical handbrake here, not like the lousy electronic things that keep failing for mostly other manufacturers or competitors. Yeah, nice gear shifter, gated here with also resin and not leather like the other competitors in this class. Also plasticky here on the glove compartment, but just big enough to carry your books, your Bibles, your other things, your owner's manual and all that. Grab handle on the passenger side, as well as grab handle on the driver side. You also have your sun visors here with your vanity mirror as well. You have your interior reading lights here. This specific model has a sunroof that can be electronically operated. You open it like so up to where you want, and then you can also close it electronically like that. So the thing with the kits and amenities inside this car, not forgetting to mention this box here, that you can use it as a storage box. It's quite big, nearly 3 or 4 liters here. So to other competitors like the Range Rover or the Jeep, you'll find this is cooled and some other times heated, but you can use it as a fridge. So the thing with this Landcruiser Prado is that when you're going or when you want to buy a Landcruiser Prado, do not look for the TX if at all you want the best of amenities fitted into it. So the TX is mostly the best model of the Landcruiser Prado, where you don't have a lot of things done into it. You might want to upgrade to something like the TZ or something like the TXL and such, but just the Landcruiser Prado TX is the best model of the Land Cruiser, which you'll have has the best model, the entry level engine. For instance, this one here, we will speak about the engine when you get to the bonnet. Yeah, you'll find the entry level engine, entry level kits, like just a few bits here. You don't have any electronics or electronic gadgets to play about. You don't have electric seats, they're all manual. You move them manually, as well as just moving them up and down like so. They're all manual. So if you can be able to raise that money to buy an SUV, a luxury car, then you just mind to go the extra bit and getting the TZ or getting the TXL and above, and not just sticking at the TX level. So the best thing that this car does is, I think probably why people like it a lot, these cars have pretty remained basic in terms of suspension and engines. For instance, the 1KD, which has been a bulletproof engine from Toyota, as well as coming to the 2KD, and then the other petrol versions of the car. So the reliability of this car, the dependability of this SUV, and then its off-road performance, it really wouldn't get stuck anywhere. Some people will tell you, if you want to go to a place that has no roads and come back, drive a Land Cruiser. But if you want to get there and maybe be uncertain on if you will come back, then buy the Land Rover equivalents, that is the Discovery or the new Defender or the Range Rover. But all said and done, it is a very, very good off-roader. So this car stayed simple. conventional suspension, normal coil springs and shocks, as opposed to air suspension that was a huge pain on Land Rover and BMW units. So everything here could be mended from every other town where you could find an automotive specialist or a mechanic, as opposed to other cars or other brands that would need serious diagnosis, serious software for you to be able to work on them. So on the steering wheel here, nothing really to mention about, just controls for the stereo, and then some little control here, stock for cruise control. Being a Toyota, simple, minimalist, and just things designed to stay longer, things designed to last longer. So not any complexities here, so nothing much to call out here. If you've watched this far and you're still new to the channel, please consider subscribing and consider clicking on the bell icon to get notified every time we are doing a new video. Let's check out the engine. Yeah, so under the bonnet here, at least for this unit here, we had this shocks dampers fitted, so you don't have to keep struggling with some stick to hold your hood up. So in here we find not so powerful petrol 2TR engine. So this is the 2.7 liter 2TR engine from Toyota. It's quite reliable in terms of it doesn't break down easily, but a few issues known to it, things like the timing belt, things like burning a lot of oil when the edge kicks in, but then it is not the fastest because it lacks that torque. For this body, this car being the body on ladder, body on frame type of setup, the car is a bit too heavy for this engine to haul around every day, so it struggles a lot with this engine. So you're better off going for the 2.8 D4D or the 3 liter D4D. Those are turbo diesel engines that would start, the 2.8 will start from 165 horsepower with well over 350 Newton meters of torque, and then the 3 liter D4D will be around 175 to just about 200 horsepower, and then nearly 500 Newton meters. That is enough for hauling and towing on this car. But for this petrol engine, the 2.7, I think it makes just over 150 horsepower and then just about 250 Newton meters of torque, which makes this thing struggle, having that it's having to carry a lot of weight in terms of its own body and the passengers as well as the luggage you put into it. And then just to mention, this petrol version is 12 volt system, so you only have one battery here, but the diesel versions of them have always been that 24 volt system, so you'll find these two 12 volts batteries in the bonnet or under the bonnet, so there would be one here and one on the other side. So this unit is still quite new, not much locally used, which is still also on sale. If you're interested on this particular car, you can reach out to us on Nation, and then we can arrange a good offer for you on this car. So things to check out on this particular engine, as I said, timing belt, just check oil in terms of the consumption. These things burn a lot of oil when they start aging. Things like the brakes, make sure you service them, because this being a heavy car as well, it tends to chew through brake pads quite a lot, especially if you're the sort of person who likes to floor them and then brake suddenly, floor and then brake them suddenly. So yeah, but generally it's quite reliable car, only that it is I would say hugely underpowered. You cannot compare the power produced by the Prado against power produced by, let's say, a BMW X5 or Land Rover Discovery, or let's just say something like cheap Grand Cherokee. Yeah, so the Prado is, let's say, the underdog in that world in terms of just the amenities, in terms of the design and all that. So this thing has really remained boxy, remained really not any aerodynamic at all, but it just used to haul you and your luggage from one place to the other. So the major reason why people, especially the African politicians, buy these cars is just for that status or that sort of social class that this car has been put in. in terms of how much it portrays to the people in terms of really what you've achieved, sort of. But mind you, these things are not any measure of success. These things are not any evidence of how big your wallet can be or how good you can perform at anything. They're just cars like any other. So real reason why these things are preferred to the other European competitors, in my opinion, I would say just the durability and dependability, and then easy with which you can fix them from any town, and then the availability of parts as well, since Prados are literally everywhere, so you can get a part for a Prado everywhere, and then cheaply as compared to the other competitors. So something that has been talked about in terms of these cars, we've seen cases of these cars, especially on African roads, rolling over quite often than not. Reason for that is anything on a ladder frame chassis is nothing that can be used in the same line with handling. That thing will never handle as good as a car that is on a monocoque chassis, which is stiffer and more tuned for that matter. So the speed at which you arrive into a corner is what matters a lot with these SUVs. These cars are too tall, which means their center of gravity is too high. So the rate at which they lose balance or stability when they lean into corners or power out of corners, they lose that stability very, very, very fast, and that stability is hugely reduced by the amount of speed you power into corners. So if you have one or you planning to look for one, especially a Landcruiser Prado, be advised. It is a huge SUV, a very tall car, very unstable at high speeds. Speeds of 100 kilometers and above, do not try these things. Do not try the sharp bends. Do not try maneuvering within other cars on in traffic on tighter roads. Don't do that. But generally, these cars are good. They last longer than their competitors, having that they are Toyotas meant for all that. But yeah, that is all we can say for the Toyota Prado. So is it a car you can buy? Having that, you have a Land Rover Discovery, BMW X5, a Jeep Grand Cherokee, probably a Volvo XC90. Should you buy the Land Cruiser Prado? If you will be frequenting remote areas of the countryside, then definitely you need a Land Cruiser Prado. But if you will have those drives once in a while, then probably you can choose something else that has better features, better comfort and efficiency as well, in terms of more power and less consumption. Something like a Land Rover Discovery or something like a Volvo XC90. Also in terms of safety features, notice the Prado here only comes with, you might want to check, but a standard 2 airbags, or 3 or 4 maximum. So one on the steering wheel for the driver, and then the second one on the passenger side for the passenger. And then inside, some do have the curtain airbags or extra airbags on the seats, but some do not have. But for the European models, you will have all that safety features and kits as standard on all of them, I think since 2002. Yeah, so getting into the Land Cruiser Prado and driving it. So start engine. This has a stop-start function. Yes, so as we said, the Land Cruiser 2TR engine is not the strongest or the most powerful in the market, but yeah, it has some enough power to take you from one place to the other. Yeah, here we go. Probably you can hear how that roars when you flow it, let's say uphill. You would find it struggling a lot, but if you're just cruising on the flat areas or going downhill, it's quite nice car. It still has some punch. So in the Prado, you sit quite high, so you have very good command of the road ahead. you are looking over the bonnet and having a good command on just things that are around you. You have very huge door mirrors. You have very huge side mirrors that help you look around, having that this is a very huge car as well. So you get very nice visibility, although at this pillar here, if you're getting into tight corners, that pillar as well as that very huge side mirror can create sort of a blind spot that may hinder you from seeing pedestrians or riders that come from that end when you are at a corner. Yeah, so normal driving, this car rides well. It's not the most comfortable on the market, or depending on the suspension that you have. Some of these units, just not the TX, some of these units like the TZ, the VX, come with air suspension at the back, but then conventional suspension at the front. This car has double wishbone at the front and sometimes multi-link, but just to mention, this car has a live axle at the back, but Toyota has now moved into just having independent suspension at the front and then the live axle at the back only. Yeah, so the ride is quite smooth, not that tough, because you still have coil springs to pair together with the shock absorbers. Driving this thing, you also feel that it is easy to drive. It's smooth with the Toyota 6-speed transmission, 6-speed automatic transmission that is fitted on these cars. So the gear shifts are quite smooth. You rarely notice them unless you have really gone for the bins, but it rides nicely. So the whole thing that people just enjoy is that element of having an SUV, that element of knowing that you will go to places and come back safely. You will go to places and come back without issues as compared to the competitors, European competitors in the class, is what makes people really enjoy buying these cars or enjoy buying a Prado. We'll do an experiment. If we floor this particular unit, my foot is down on the floor, nearly going through the metal. You can hear the thing scream. That is how struggling this thing can struggle. For all that we've been doing, we just managed to get to 80 kilometers per hour up to that point. So it is not the most powerful thing ever in the world, nor is it the quietest engine to roll about in. So just for daily normal use, home, office, work, it's a good car. But highway cruising, you will struggle, especially going uphill with this particular engine here. But you are better off going for the diesels. The diesels are proven, tested, proven, and used in a wide range of other Toyota vehicles and applications. So they will never let you down. But other than that, nothing really to write home about the Prado TX. It's just quite a normal car. But if you really love them, buy them. Do not drive them like sports cars. Do not drive them like sedans. They're quite reliable. Yep, I think we will wrap it up here until we catch up with you in the next episode, where we'll be looking at other different things or other different cars. Thank you so much for the support so far. Thank you so much for getting us to this far. Still, if you're new here, subscribe, share it with your friends. Cheers.